And like, I believe last year she generated 1.6 million in sales for us. And herself made 150 to $200,000 in commission from us, which we were gladly good to pay, because like that is just like, insane.
All right, folks, we are back a week off. I had my fill of sangria and tapas. Barcelona, Spain was amazing.
Let's go.
But now we're back. DTC's favorite podcast. I have my partner in crime, as always, Ash Mawani, looking fresh in the Triple Well swag, if I may say. If you want some of that and you want to look as fresh as Ash, well, you can buy it actually at store.triplewell.com. I think I set a record.
Comfy.
They're really good. They have a hem tag on them. They're fancy. They're printed tags. Like there's a lot of little Easter eggs there.
I'm not trying to get up right now.
Fair play. Fair play.
It also makes you look jacked.
You do look a little swole. You're on that Sharma. You're on that Sharma gear, aren't you?
Oh no.
Yeah, you're on that Nick Sharma track.
Ash versus Sharma, who wins?
Oh shit.
Well, it depends. Ash is scrappy.
No.
Ash is
Give me till next year. Give me till next year. A little bit of Avi collagen, a little bit of working out.
Dude, we've been smashing your protein bars. The fruit cereal protein bars are those are my favorite. They're so good because one of them melted, so we couldn't give them to the influencers. Yeah. And so anyways. And I'm bearing the lead here. I can't believe I talked over that mustache. The man with the plan, JD, Josh Durham. For people that don't know, the OGs will know, but Josh was actually the first guest on You're Not Your ROAS, our other sister podcast that I host with other crushers that just come on. Max was actually still on it. You are our episode 001. And we said, hey, this guy is absolutely crushing influencers. Influencers are so hot right now. We always want to bring you the most heat. Who's more heat than this Tennessee stud? Josh, thank you for coming on the show.
Wow, honored to be here. What episode is this? For Adspend?
You would do that to me, wouldn't you? It's 15, maybe 14. It's
18.
18, something like that.
Whatever it is, I'm honored to be back. I'm just mad I didn't get on the Adspend number 1.
Who was our first? Oh, Cody Puffs. We had some changes in the old the ad spends, but it's all.
I'm just here to walk so that you guys can run. I just want to be on the first podcast.
You see this guy? Amazing.
I'm just like a test rabbit, Like I just want to make sure you guys are taken care of.
Oh man, you're too kind. So, Josh, you've been making some really crazy inroads in influencers. We're seeing more and more people have success diversifying their spends away from actual just total paid media, where sprinkling a little sauce throughout other people's little either micro or macro networks are really great ways to put a boon to the economics. So I want to talk to Ash first on kind of what he's been doing with his influencer strategy. I'll talk a little bit about what we do at Triple, and then I want you to take us home in terms of the expertise and how we should be thinking about our influencer strategy, deploying capital, tracking, that kind of thing.
Awesome. Yeah, love it. In fact, last week I was talking to Josh about just getting some advice, right? Reaching out to influencers. What does that look like? What's some of the steps that you should kind of follow after the fact? Somebody actually gets back to you. So I kind of want to take a step back and talk about the history of just influencer marketing with Avi and how we kind of utilized it. I think it was 2 years ago, we had this massive influencer, 1.5 million followers on Facebook. Okay. She was huge on Facebook. She
plot twist.
Plot twist. This is where people completely they write off Facebook, and it's there's some pretty big hitters on there that still get a ton of engagement. So she had ended up being a customer of Avi. We never seeded her anything. We weren't even looking at influencers at that time, right? I think we were doing $5,000 a day in sales. She posts a 25-minute video to her Facebook page. Okay.
Oh my
Immediately gets a couple 100,000 views, 1,000 comments. It's her community was diehard fans of who she was, right? She was this Midwestern mom, went through bariatric surgery. So adding protein to your diet after that type of surgery is so crucial. So finding a protein that you want to take is it's important. So her followers are probably, you know, into that information. And that day we quadrupled sales, and we had no idea where this was coming from, because I was like, can't be the ads. Like the ad, like I know I'm good, but I'm not that good. And two, it was like, where do we find it? Because all the traffic was saying it was coming from Facebook. And we're like, this is not, it's not adding up, right? Until we started seeing like comments like on like in the community, and like on like some of our like, I guess, other ads, like, hey, this influencer mentioned you, you guys should send her some free stuff. And we're like, who is this? Like, we've never heard of her. And we went to her page and we're like, holy shit, like this is this is like driving so much organic for us. This is driving so much awareness. Like that day my ads were doing so much better, because now all these people are trickling in through this top of the funnel, like discovery through her influence, and now everything else is like converting amazingly, right? So fast forward, you know, a couple months later, we, you know, made a deal with her. You know, we worked with her on a monthly cadence, a video a month. We got her a discount code. We put her on his commission style structure. And like I believe last year she generated 1.6 million in sales for us,
Oh
and
my gosh.
Damn,
herself
son.
made 150 to $200,000 in commission from us, which we were gladly good to pay, because like that is just like, you know, insane. So ended up, what we did was is we built this relationship with her. She posted on her accounts all the time whenever we had a product launch, restock, Black Friday sale, and we whitelisted all of this stuff to the point where 90% of our ads were just her. And then we started adding on some additional influencers, this and that. And that is where I think we really went like this, right? The majority of our budget was influencer marketing, whitelisting, and then, you know, static ads and Avi branded ads. We worked with a few celebrities, but like her influence was insane. Fast forward to the end of last year, right? So if you guys have been following our story, that is kind of where we saw this like little bit of a dip post iOS updates. We weren't testing enough content, landing pages, this and that. Unfortunately, she like struck a deal with like NBC or something, and she wasn't able to promote any other products or brands. You know, and so that was kind of
Tragic.
the end of our like influencer marketing, because we're like, we can't rely on these influencers to give us content on a monthly basis. Like if 1 week or 1 month they're like, we can't, you know, provide you guys any content, then like our stuff is like kind of drying out, and we're now kind of, you know, scattering for like content. So we went back and we're like, all right, let's control our destiny, this and that, blah blah blah, and like let's create more content in house, right? So that's what our focus was. Now after talking to so many brands and talking to like people like Josh, it's like really should have a lot going on the influencer side. But the reason a lot of brands are not doing it is, it is, unless you're working with pros like Josh, is very difficult to handle, right?
Yeah.
So right now our
Yeah.
process is, we have an intern in house right now reaching out to 200 influencers a week, right? So 50, so she works Monday through Thursday, 50 influencers on TikTok right now, as we're focusing on TikTok right now. She's finding 50 influencers with at least 100,000 followers plus, that has something to do with beauty, wellness, hair, skin, nails, 50 a day. And I'm going in and I'm emailing every single one. You're like, hey, I'm the CMO of Avi. I would love to just send you some product. And I would love to just talk to you about a long-term relationship. Like that's it. I've gotten maybe like a 10 to 15% response rate, which, I mean, Josh, you mentioned it, it's a numbers game, but the interest of those people who like have actually like reached back out, it's like, oh, I really want to try this. Like, let me know when I can get it, and then we'll talk, right? So that is now what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks, just focusing on that and being able to like, I want to put together a team, right? I want to put together an influencer team that can post maybe once a month, where I can whitelist, where I can repurpose this content on my other ads, on the website, on in the community, email, SMS, like everywhere. But that is where I kind of want to hand it off to you, Josh. It's like, all right, once you're getting these influencers, right? Once they're ready to go, you created the deal with them. What is the best way to utilize them in, you know, the most effective manner, paid, organic, social, everything, man? Take it away.
Totally. No, you hit on so many good points there. that I think we kind of discussed last week via DMs, but it's definitely a volume game. Influencers is a volume game. Like, for example, we just had, one influencer that we reached out to maybe a month ago say that it was like $6,000 per reel on Instagram, and she had 20,000 followers. And then we signed a TikTok influencer the next week that had 2 million followers just for free product. And so it's definitely a volume game in terms of your outreach. And so that's the exact process that we follow, is about per client, we're doing about 200 outreaches a week. And so from that, you're able to sort out a lot of the people who are overpriced or aren't really willing to negotiate. But I think the important thing too, Ash, is kind of just like the steps of the relationship. So like for us, like when we kind of start an influencer program for a new brand, our whole goal is to sign about 100 influencers in the first 90 days, so that only on a free basis, only in exchange for free product first, to really just test out the relationship. And so kind of like what you're asking in terms of like evolving that relationship is, out of those 100 that we might sign in the first 90 days, there might be 10 to 15 that were absolute killers. So they had awesome organic reach, or they made amazing content. And, one of those two factors is really what we're looking at. And then also, how did they perform on paid? So obviously you want to establish the creative rights on that free gifting strategy. But from there, what do influencers want? Well, they want one of two things. They want a long-term partnership and consistent income. And so if you can kind of paint the picture for them of that roadmap and really kind of sell on, hey, if you continue making awesome content, then, we're going to give you a longer term contract from there. And so that's what we've been doing, is evolving, after that first 90 days, is really looking at deeper partnerships. So just like you said, Ash, whitelisting content deliverables every month. And maybe that's across platforms. So maybe it's on their Instagram and their TikTok. Maybe if they're also going into YouTube, that kind of thing. And, really, and especially on like the whitelisting thing, I think there's a lot of opportunity on like percent of ad spend type of deals. So that's one of the things that we did at Groove Life was, we were spending actually 30% of our budget just on whitelisting. So 30% of our paid budget was just on whitelisting, like ad spend. And then they would get a cut, maybe it's 5 to 10% of that total ad spend through their account. But yeah, there's like all these different ways that you can cut it up, but it really depends on your brand's goals. And then on top of that, is just evolving your campaign. So like if you're having a Labor Day sale come up in the future, like make sure to include them on the details of that promotion. And so that's one of the things that we're always doing, is we're writing an initial creative brief for your evergreen campaigns of just things that make sense, right? So like talking about your collagen protein product, kind of going after that first and foremost. But then what about like all your sales that are coming up? Well, make sure to include everyone that you gifted in on that next campaign, make a new creative brief, email it out to all your partners so that they feel like they're a part of the brand and they're producing content that's not just made for evergreen, but also is like these one-off promotions.
So in terms of like handling that communication, right? Are you like, is it just straight up like, just email back and forth? Are you like putting these people into like a group chat, like Slack? Like, what does that communication style look like?
Yeah, for sure. It's primarily via email. So we build on one of two tools. We either build on Grin or we build on Dovetail. And so depending on the client, it's generally handled via email. So like Grin has some really cool capabilities with building out new campaigns and being able to just natively email them right from there. But, a lot of clients, they don't want to do the whole annual contract, expensive monthly recurring software costs. And so what we end up doing for a lot of clients is building out a new campaign brief, basically copying everyone into an email that's kind of in a similar range of, when they joined, or like kind of based off like the content that they've produced already. And then just asking them, hey, here's a campaign that we have coming up, and then managing it from there.
Can I ask a question? Because you guys are so far ahead of the game for me. How do you even go about sourcing? Is this just like, hey, you have like a certain avatar, or you just have, or is it just like sliding into DMs, or like, what does that look like? Is this a personalized email? Is this like a portion that's personalized and then a boilerplate template? Because like 200 emails a day is like, to your point, Ash, I mean, that's almost a full-time position, right? And so I actually have pretty much a full-time guy that's just sourcing influencers, but I'm wondering if I'm using them the right way, or like how do I get this first step? Because I'm following kind of where you guys, once you get them into the funnel, then you want to make sure like the economics align, like you're saying, Josh. Like, I'm not going to pay somebody $6,000 for X, Y, or Z, especially if it's unproven. But like, how do I even like email these 1,000 people to get the 200 people that'll actually talk to me? Or like, is there some tips there? Like, what's that system look like?
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to take that, Ash, or do you want me to get it?
I'll give you my take on it, just because of the limited resources that we have, right? Like, I literally just turned around and I said, I want to start this tomorrow, right? So
Yep.
literally what we had was, we had a marketing intern for the summer. We still do. And I said, drop what you're doing. The first hour that you come in, I want you to search hashtags on TikTok: beauty, hair, skin, nails, mom, life, blogger,
Brilliant.
whatever. And just like, if they look even just remotely like somebody that could fit the brand, like, it's a numbers game, right? Like Josh said, it's a complete numbers game. Like, whether they may or may not fit, like, I just want to get people in the door. So literally on a spreadsheet, she's putting in name, handle, email, right? And then
Amazing.
I created a separate email, like just ash@myavi.com, and I have this template that I'm just sending out to 50 emails a day. It'll take me about like half hour, 40 minutes, but like within there, I'm like saying the things that I want to happen, right? Like, I've mentioned, like, hey, we have our Facebook community. A lot of people have, expressed a lot of interest in you as a creator. We want to send you some free product just to see if you like the idea of being a part of the brand. And listen, I'm not here to pay you for one post. I want to create a long-term relationship. If you can, 10 minutes, let's just sit on a call so I can show you what our other influencers have done and how much money they've made, to like come up with a unique structure where it's like we're both winning and not just like pay me for a post, right? So again, just sending out that email, and then just me following up, and just I personally just figuring out that process. It's still new for us, but like, it's now okay. Hey, they're ready to they want, X amount of product, here's their address. Grabbing that, sending it to the girls to ship out, this and that, and then keeping an order of the tracking information, so that later on I can go and follow up when shit gets delivered and things like that. So again, I'm week one into this, and I'll figure out the rest. But Josh, I mean, you tell me, what is it similar? Am I doing something a lot worse?
You're
You tell me.
Ash, you're doing a great job for week 2, but you're playing the game on hard mode, bro. You're doing it so manually.
Yeah.
So let me help you. So, here's what we do is, there's so many tools out there that you can use, right? There's like influencer software is a dime a dozen. So like, you're doing a great job, but what we do is we primarily scrape emails off Instagram and, off of TikTok, all that fun stuff. And so what we end up doing is, of the 200 a week that we're doing, 100 is through Creator Marketplace. So we're messaging them through Creator Marketplace first, and then doing that outreach. And then also for email, we're using Dovetail or
Sorry, when you're saying
Grin,
creator
the built-in
marketplace,
features
are
that
you talking
already
about
have a
like
database.
TikTok?
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok Creator Marketplace. Yeah, so we're doing 100 through there. And then for Instagram influencers, we're doing primarily email. So using Grin or using Dovetail, where they're already scraping emails, there's a function on there that says has email address. And so for anyone listening, Dovetail is acquired by Shopify just a couple months ago. Yeah, so it's now free to everyone on Shopify. So go ahead, download it, add
Pro
it.
tip.
Shout out to Mike, co-founder of Dovetail. Congrats on the acquisition. But super, super helpful to just go in there, scrape emails, export it to a CSV. Then you can upload that into a CRM. So what we do, instead of doing it one-off and doing it super manually, going back and forth, we make a very great message. You can customize that first line if you like and talk about their content. But then from there, we're asking them to apply to our program. And so that's the difference, I think, too, is they're applying to work with us, not the other way around. We're inviting them to apply the program. Same on TikTok Creator Marketplace. So then from there, they're going
Are you doing that
into
on message
our
one?
ecosystem. Yes, on message one. Yep, right out the gate. So then we're asking them to apply on Creator Marketplace, also on these emails, and that helps consolidate the flow. So then they apply, and then you also have one more lever saying, okay, do we really want them a part of our program or not? Accept or deny, and then you can ship out product automatically from there. So it helps a lot of that streamline that process, so that we used to do this via Instagram DMs. When we first started, we're sending like 200 DMs a week. You get knocked with the 50 DMs a day limit.
Yeah.
It's messy, it's exhausting. You have to go grab their address, all that fun stuff. And this really helps consolidate a lot of that effort, and you can put more effort on analyzing creative ability and just like high level thinking on your creative briefs and strategy. So that's what I would do. I think you're on the right track, just a couple tools away from really getting that automated and dialed in.
Automating it, yeah. The creator marketplace, right? Are the creators there more inclined to respond because they're like kind of signed up there? They're like, all right, I'm waiting for a deal, like reach out, Is that probably
Yeah, 100%. We find that TikTok creators are much more willing to do stuff for free product initially. And so that's kind of how we pitch everything, is free product initially with potential to do a paid partnership after that. But there's like lots of people that have 100,000 followers on TikTok that just started in the last year versus Instagram creators who've kind of been around the block and might be more expensive than TikTok. So the other great thing about Creator Marketplace is the built-in Spark ads, right? So you can go right away. They make an ad, they upload it to Creator Marketplace, sync that to your ads manager, and you just whitelisted TikTok influencer a lot more easily than Facebook and Instagram. So that's another advantage.
My mind is blown here.
I have a question. I don't know if it's kind of the right segue, but when brands are utilizing influencers, right, and they're posting organically, their reach is there, and then you're running just Spark ads. How does the overall marketing efficiency kind of fare out after that, right? Because like for when you kind of sign brands onto your agency, right, and they're probably just doing paid, right, and then they introduce influencer marketing, what is that change? Like, do you see incremental? Do you just see better efficiency across the board? Like how do you what would be something that you would tell a brand like, hey, you really need to add influencer marketing into the mix because of XYZ?
Right, 100%. So like we're not even managing ads. Like I have some like legacy clients that we're managing it for, but like we've really transitioned all in on influencer. And the reason is because content, how we see content is we think of it as ammunition. It's really just ammunition for the ad account, and sourcing all this creative can be such a chore. And on top of that, it's so expensive to have someone run it in-house. So like I just talked to a brand 30 minutes ago, and they fired their head of influencer partnerships, and they're paying them 80 90 grand a year. And so it's just really expensive to have someone in-house versus outsourced. And so like the value in how things shake out in terms of MER, in terms of ROAS, is how much is it really costing you to do all this manual outreach in-house? And then two, also having to think through the headache of strategy and communicating with them and thinking through like long-term, promotions and stuff like that. And so like in terms of lift, we have clients at scale spending, $500,000 a month on ads. And so we'll have like a batch of UGCs that will increase click-through rates by 30% and then increase ROAS by 20%. So right there, that's the lift. And then, the back end of that is you didn't have to hire someone in-house. And then also, the gravy on top is the distribution of the influencers following, right? So one of the things that we like to look at is media value. We love to use Mighty Scout. It's a great tool in terms of grabbing creative, looking at the value of that media. So like think about, for organic following, if you're getting $10 CPM on Facebook, which not many people are, what does that translate into organic? So if they get 100,000 views at a $10 CPM, then what is that? $10,000 worth of media value. And so that's kind of how we back in the math outside of just affiliate sales from their affiliate coder link.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like same, but different in terms of when you're looking at like organic rankings in terms of SEO traffic, right? Like this is the SEO traffic, and like SEMrush or Ahrefs will show you like this is equivalent to X amount of dollars or something like that.
Yeah,
That
exactly. It's also kind of like, how do you, how do you put a value on Athletic Greens having like hundreds of influencers whitelisted and hitting
yeah,
you from every angle once you go to
yeah,
their site? Like
yeah,
I freaking was watching YouTube one time, and then Athletic Greens is like sponsoring an in-stream ad with one of my
yeah,
favorite YouTubers, and it just seems like they're omnipresent, right?
yeah.
And I think that it's hard to put a price tag on that as well.
Yeah. And I think that there's obviously it needs to be a function of the business model, but that's kind of like just slowly transitioning to my questions. Like that's what we're trying to do is kind of like the omnipresent whale. The one challenge, and I don't know if you have any ways to circumvent this, is we don't have a really easy way to give people product. And so we lose out on that, if that makes sense, where it's like a D2C brand is super easy, where it's just like, hey, Josh, I'm going to send you my water bottle. I'm going to send you my, pickleball paddle. Go play with it. And then, maybe we can get a video out of it. For us, it's really challenging to do any sort of digital distribution that makes sense. And then it's also kind of like, the free product loses its like je ne sais quoi because it's like you're not really getting anything tangible, if that makes sense. Do you have any digital clients, or do you have any people that are in the like SaaS space that are leveraging influencers well, or like using this system? Because to me the system makes total sense. Like I have high margin, low cogs. I send it out to a bunch of people. I don't even ask them to promote it, like kind of what you and Ash are saying, like, hey, you guys are awesome, I like your stuff, apply to our program, and then possibly we'll send you some product, and then we'll take it from there. There's no obligations, nothing. And then eventually, like to your point, the numbers will just start to net out, and then you get these nice long relationships. You figure out what works, what doesn't. And worst case scenario, you're out a bunch of product that isn't going to cost you. It's better than burning $100 bills on Facebook type of stuff. But when you have a B2B SaaS company, or not even just B2B, just a SaaS company in general, do you know anybody that is doing well in terms of influencer marketing with SaaS?
Good question. Yeah, I think SaaS is a challenge. I really do. Like, I know a couple guys that are doing SaaS well. I don't know what their names are. Off the top of my head, I just met them off Twitter like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, SaaS is tough because of that value exchange. Like the value exchange needs to be high. And so we've had clients that are like, I just had a client that they do like giveaways, like massive giveaways. Like they're giving away, a G-Wagon or a cabin in the woods. And we manage their influencer stuff. And what we actually ended up doing was sending a box with some of the instructions plus like a Yeti mug inside the box. And it's kind of like this cool unboxing experience for the SaaS.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing to test is like,
It's a good idea.
Ash is wearing a Triple Whale t-shirt. Like what if you sent a t-shirt plus a mug and kind of had that visual type feel? Because I think another good example is, like Ty Lopez in his whatever his like mentor box was. Like it wasn't actually a box, it was like a library of like videos or something like that. Like I don't know, that could be like a fun example. But yeah, SaaS is tough, man. Like I even had another client last year, and theirs was like a meal prep service.
Yeah.
And so the challenge too is like for the average influencer, how are they going to display that on camera? So
it's
like
another huge issue that we run into.
Yeah, they're like screen recording on their phone, then they're going back to face the camera. It just gets really messy really fast. And so I think that then SaaS, the best strategy is probably a paid strategy in terms of like paying content creators to make stuff, because that's like the incentive is the payment structure versus free product.
Yeah. So candidly, that's what we've been doing, where my head of content, Colin, basically just sources kind of like the same, but different what you guys are doing. It's just the numbers are a little lower because one, the economics, like, we're paying $500 to $3,000 per video. So it starts to get really spicy really quick. And then the other challenge that we've found, and I don't know how you guys deal with this, and maybe again, it's just kind of the bifurcation of that value exchange. I like how you put that. Is that people will make videos for us fairly reasonable, and people will let us whitelist fairly reasonable. But if we want to use it as an ad, they become Tom Cruise. And it's so odd to me where it pisses me off because we've had like 3 or 4 really great creators that we pay them a reasonable, like really actually decent price. And then they want like 3x that for us to actually run it as an ad, but they don't only want like a few bucks for the whitelisting. And so it like breaks my brain where it's just like, we'll find a hit and then that person wants to like renegotiate all the contracts. And it's like, well, then you start to have to do again a new economic calculation. Is there any, because the other thing is like you don't want to negotiate because if it doesn't hit, then you don't want to pay that nut for no reason. So we're in this like weird kind of chicken and egg problem. Is there any solutions there? Is that
I don't know. I feel like I honestly feel like every influencer like went to a conference, and at the conference they were like, "Don't do whitelisting. They'll take advantage of you." Like when in reality they're gonna get so much like impression share from that. Like if you just think about the click through rate of the link click through rate versus like if they're just clicking their profile, it's like so high. But yeah, I don't have a great workaround for that. I think like the approach that we have is, like I said, start on the free basis.
Yep.
And for whitelisting, like the creators really want a long-term contract. So what we're doing is initially a 90-day contract, testing that out, putting them on retainer for 90 days. Here's some deliverables. We get whitelisting access. Let's test this partnership out and then go from there. And I think that's kind of our strategy. It's definitely early on that in terms of like setting up these whitelisting agreements.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's get back into the D2C stuff because I think it makes a little more sense there. How do you guys kind of work that, Ash, when you find a hitter or a winner? I guess you've only been doing it for a little while, but like, because it is challenging, right, to ensure those economics work. Or do you? I like the long-term strategy though, Josh. I think that's something that we could probably revisit to say like, hey, you made this hit. We don't want to pay you $5,000 for this one ad, but maybe we'll bring you on for say $7,000 for the next 2 months. And then something like that, where in the absolute, it's a bigger number, but as we amortize it across, 3 or 4 creatives, we can start to get our return back. How do you think of that, Ash?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you 2 examples, right? So the influencers who probably like your product and want to use it and probably use it on a daily basis are probably more willing to kind of give it a shot, right? I mean, at that point, it's like the people who like come out to me or like some of the responses I've gotten so far, it's like, oh, if this isn't a paid promotion, then we're not interested, right? And I'm just like, you haven't even seen the product, you haven't tried it yet. Like, shouldn't that be the focus of like you building your brand, right? You should want to have something and you should want to promote something that you like, right? So the initial conversation is like, hey, let me check it out, let me try it. If I like it, then I want to promote it, right? Then it's like, so for those types of creators, I would actually prefer to pay them first if I need to. But like the people who are like, yeah, like this is a paid promotion, I don't want to hear anything about it, right? It's like what? Like I don't understand. So for example, this one that I referenced in the beginning is she posted organically for free. We didn't even send her free product, right? This doesn't happen, right? This just doesn't happen. It was a very lucky thing that happened to us, and like after that is where we said we'll pay you like a fixed fee to post once a month, but we will also pay you commission on the discount code sales, right? So she was making money 2 ways, from posting and like organically, like her sending traffic to the website, and then me taking her content, mixing it up, this and that, and then running them on ads behind her account, right? That crushed. Now there's creators where like there was a few like celebrities that we like hit up because we just had some people in our network. Like we used some Real Housewives. We worked with like Jamie Lynn Spears, and like we were just like they all wanted.
You hear that? You heard that?
They
Oh yeah, that was a
wanted.
name falling over there.
But they were
Ash is
like, we
flexing.
want. But these girls wanted like fees up front, right? And we said, okay, well, they have a little bit more brand equity. Like these are like celebrities. Like, all right, let's see if it works out, right? Some of the creators, like they were like, all right, $3,000 for like 2-3 pieces of content. And you said, we're like, all right, let's just try it and see what happens, right? When they posted to their accounts, we saw nothing. Like nothing come in, right? You know, like just zero. But the thing is that when we were running the ads behind their page and whitelisting, because we're controlling it, we were able to make our money back just because like it was a great ad, right? And people are like, oh, I know the celebrity, this and that, blah, 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 right? That's how we made our money back. So there's two sides to it. And like, I want to explain to the influencer that I am talking to, which is why like, hey, just talk to me for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I will show you a quick case study of how much money we spent behind a single ad and how much that influencer made off of that. You're asking me for 10K for a video. What if you made 150K off commission for one video, right? So like, that's where I want to just talk to like these, you know, whoever it is, the influencer, or even their managers or whatever it is, just be like, listen, stop thinking so short term, think long term. And that is how we create that long term partnership. So that's just, I mean, that's just how I'm thinking about it. And it's tough to get that in like into people's heads. And especially like you said, these TikTok creators are newer. And like sometimes they're just happy to be included, right? And then but some of them are like, well, I want $2,000 for a video and you have like 20K views per video. Like I can't spend that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like $100 CPM. So.
Right. I feel like you made a good point there, Ash, too, was, you know, starting with your warm audience of people who already love your product. And that's one of the things that we actually have had a ton of success with is, you know, for each influencer program, we'll actually launch it to your existing customer list first. And like, you never know who's on your email list. So have them apply and maybe they have 50 to 100,000 followers, kind of like you said, you know, that original gal that was from the Midwest, you know, crushed it on a 25-minute video. You just never know who's already bought product from you. And so even for you, Rabah, like looking at, who's an influencer that already uses Triple Whale. Like,
yeah, usage. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I use Triple Whale. Like, why aren't you hitting me up for a brand deal? Are we gonna sign a deal?
The contract's sent.
Done. I'll let you whitelist my Instagram all day. Let's go.
In the mail, baby.
But anyways, just starting with your warm audience, I think
that's
just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's a great point.
There's an app that helps with that.
That's amazing.
Have you heard of Caro? I think it is.
Yeah. That was the OG app.
Yeah, that like scans your orders. It like scans your customer base, and then it tells you if somebody's like has a decent sized following. I think, and then you can just
that's interesting.
reach out to them. Yeah,
I got to dig around Amplitude. That's so fascinating. So let me say this back so I understand kind of the orders of operations. So the first thing I need to do is essentially source. And that sourcing is going to be that numbers game, Josh, where I have like I can either pound the pavement like Ash or be smart like you and get some automations around it. Look, that obviously the first batch of people I want to touch on is those warm audiences using that Vero tool or something like that, or the dovetail stuff. And I get this nice little pool of audiences. And then from there, you can either qualify or meet them like Ash. I feel like the meeting is hard though, Ash, to scale, right? Or it's important for you because you want to qualify them more, or do you like the Josh thing about applying to the program, flipping the script?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably two sides to it. Again, we're just still figuring it out. It's like for me, I want to get to a point where I'm, I guess, working with the bigger influencers right off the bat.
Got it.
But like explaining to them what the potential is versus like trying to go back and forth with somebody with 20K followers, right? Who's asking for the world. So it could, and I agree. I think I'm going to check it out after this and see how I can better the approach. But I would agree that maybe Josh's way makes a lot more sense to just have them apply to the program and then kind of discuss after the fact, you know?
Yeah, I think it just depends on your goals because I think that ultimately you're trying to whitelist more and you're trying to build these larger partnerships. So like, I don't think that's a bad strategy of just like going super directly. Yeah. But because when we built this relationship with the other creators with 5,000 followers, it was like would want to be whitelisted.
Yeah. It's just when you build that relationship, I feel like you get more out of it than like, because what if the business could take off with like five really big names, and like what if I'm like texting with them every day,
Yeah.
be like, hey, like this is what's happening. Here's how much you're making. This and that. Like
Yeah.
like that personal touch. I feel like could just, I don't know. That's what was working. That's what I'm trying to implement now. But if it's a numbers game, maybe it's like you kind of have to play it like a volume game instead of like, hold somebody's hand through the whole process.
No, yeah. I think like what you just said is a great strategy. Like one of
Yeah.
our best clients, they drive like literally like 600K a month in influencer. And they've been doing influencer for a long time. And like it's exactly what you said, Ash, is like having that personal relationship. Like if you look at like even some of the biggest influencer programs out there, like Cuts Clothing, great
Yeah.
example. I had a
Yep.
conversation with their team, and like they have some tight regulation on the Cuts Clothing ambassadors. Like these guys, like initially maybe get some free product if they're like have all four channels like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything. And they cut people if they're not performing, and they limit that to
No pun
100
intended.
people. And yeah, plus they're getting on Zoom calls every month, getting them incorporated to the brand, all that fun stuff. And so I think that like if with the more intimate relationships, like I think that's a great long-term strategy. I think that my version is probably a little bit more geared for an outsourced partner, and that just makes sense when a brand needs to help get scaled up.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And I think actually, personally, we're going to try a blend of two because we haven't had the big hit on the big influencer yet. The micro to like mid influencer have been way more impactful for us. But we actually just landed a pretty big whale, pun intended, that we're going to lean pretty heavily into. That did take a little TLC, kind of like the Ash part. And so Colin is a bit of my sourcer. And then when there is a kind of somebody that warrants that bigger discussion around, more economics, more retail touch, I love that. Okay, so now I have my deals sourced, and then I get to a place where I'm either sending product or qualifying them, and then from that messaging, when do you get the videos? Do you guys ask for stuff when you send them product, or is it just a kind of, hey, we like you guys, here's some product, if you want to do this, we're happy to work with you, or like what's that next step?
Yeah, so on our end, I mean, we're pretty straight up like at the
Yeah,
beginning with the brief. And so,
amazing.
I think a lot of people, they do the no strings attached type philosophy, which I don't think is a bad philosophy. Just for us, we've just been a little bit more straight up of like, hey, we want like these kind of deliverables. Here's some examples of great content that we've had in the past. Here's 4 to 5 intro hooks. Here's about our company and our benefits. And so building out that creative brief, one of the things I like to say is your content is only going to be as good as your creative brief. And
Ooh,
so you really want to be really diligent in building that out. So like we're building that out on Notion. It's really clear.
love me some
It's
Notion.
really it's dialed in. There's great examples in there. We're educating about our brand so that the influencer and that creator has all the assets they need to win. And so I think just being straight up and asking for what you want is always a great strategy.
Yeah,
Is
closed
that
mouths
is
don't
that
get fed.
happening on message two? Is that what that looks like?
No, so that's happening kind of on the back end as they're, coming through. So like they're, oh yeah, I guess it is message two. You're right. So, we're sending the outreach message, they're applying, then we're sending the product, and then we're giving them the brief for in exchange for that product. But like on the application page, we're talking about, product in exchange for creative.
Expectations.
Yeah, just expectations. And it depends on your platform. So like it varies. Like on Gren, you can build out some awesome campaigns that you can invite them to that specific campaign, whereas Dovetail is kind of more of a general, general application page. But yeah, that's kind of where it's happening.
So
Ah,
just so I'm clear, right? You're reaching out to 200 a week saying like, "Hey, we love your content. Would love to have you apply to our program." Then they apply to the program, and within the program, you're basically saying like, "Hey, we're going to send you some free stuff hopefully in return for some content in the hopes that we're creating a long-term relationship. Is that what
Yep.
that looks like? And
Yep. With
then
the links and brief. Yep.
got it. So like if they want, basically you're telling them you're not getting paid to start. You're gonna get free product. You're gonna create content and you're gonna post it, and then we create the launch. So like then when they actually create the content, then you see how it does. Like, are you giving them like discount codes so you can track sales? Like, how are you tracking like
That
the
was my
effectiveness?
Yeah. So we're tracking with affiliate codes. So we're giving them a code,
amazing.
giving them a discount code, all that fun stuff. And then, like I said, on the back end, we're using Mighty Scout to look at, total
Earned
impressions,
media.
grabbing that creative, that kind of stuff, and just, measuring it based off of the media value and or the additional sales. But usually this strategy is really geared for content versus sales. And so we're really going after the content for paid. So yeah, that's kind of how we have it set up.
So like the
How
volume of creative is more of a KPI than the actual efficacy of the creative, quote
Exactly.
unquote.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
makes tons of sense.
most of our clients are getting like 3 to 10 pieces of creative a week that we're delivering to their inbox every Monday. And we're reporting on impressions, creative output, outreach, acceptance, all that fun stuff. And yeah,
This is kind of in the weeds, but are you using like Air Inc, Google Drive? Like where do you house your assets?
we use Air and we also use Drive.
Air. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. That makes tons of sense.
Yeah. Air's
Okay, so
good.
now, yeah, they're awesome people. We're actually doing some fun stuff with them in October. Okay, cool. So now I have the creative. I do that. I'm tracking it with affiliate codes. If I obviously I care about return on investment, but possibly the return on investment is just the velocity of creative that I'm getting through to help the lift on the ad account. One question. So when we were doing some affiliate stuff, a couple codes get leaked out to like discount code sites and stuff like that. What do you do in that case? Do you kill the code, new code? Do you just let it ride? Like, how does that work? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Honey.com just
Yeah.
murdering the
Okay.
discount
Just
codes, bro.
stealing money.
Dude, I used to have some like top secret ad funnels back in the day. That was like for like customers who'd only purchased 4 times. They're getting like a 30% off code on the back end from an email flow. Honey grabs that shit and then automatically everyone has it.
Yeah.
I don't have a perfect workaround for that. I think it's case by
Yeah.
case basis, but
Okay.
generally those codes aren't getting taken up versus the bigger codes, because a lot of these are like 10%, 15% off,
Yeah.
versus 30, 40% sale.
Well, the challenge for me is sometimes like that code is tied to a commission. And so now it's like, I don't want the sales to stop coming in on that code, but at the same time, like I want to make sure that like it's actually this influencer driving the demand, not people searching like, I want to save on Avi codes. And then I see Ash 10 and then I grab it and put it in there. And then now I'm paying Ash all this money, which I obviously want to pay him, but like it needs to, does that make sense? And so, yeah, I need to think on how, like, because for us, it's a little different where it's like, if somebody gets 10 or 15% off, we don't care. Cause it's like, hey, buy the thing. We're in a different business model of recurring revenue. So it's like if somebody buys their 10, 15% off, we're not really like that put off. But like if it's a D2C brand or something like that, and they're just constantly getting hammered with 10 to 15% cuts or 20% cuts. And then because for us too, it'd be a double dip where we're losing money on the front end sale, but then we also have to pay out this commission to the affiliate because they get a little sauce on their code and stuff. And so, yeah, I think it's just a bit of a quagmire.
Yeah, no, it's heavy. Like, and we do links too. Like, it's not just codes. We give them codes. We
I
give them
think
links.
that's the
That's like a
move.
30-day cookie. You track it that way.
I think
And like
that's
I
the move.
said, like this for us, like usually the first 90 days of the program is geared for content, not
Love
sales.
that.
And
Yeah.
so after that, if it makes sense for the brand, what we'll do is evolve those into paid partnerships
Love
and
that.
go more after, swipe ups on Instagram stories. So it's a clear link kind of thing. Like I don't think
Beautiful.
anyone's making bank posting on Instagram feeds these days, right? So like just doing more direct response type deals plus, whitelisting agreements, that kind of thing.
Amazing. You guys just built my whole influencer system. I feel
You're
like
welcome.
Kenny's gonna be mad. I'm not gonna spend any money on MentorPass now. I got these two influencers already giving me the system.
Just send me my contract after, bro.
Of course, I do. No, seriously, I'm going to connect you with Colin. We're going to get you on. It's going to be amazing. Ash, you have any more questions? We're pushing up against it.
No, I think I'm good, man. I mean, I think one of the things that I think, like you mentioned, right, this whole process is for like content, right? Um, I, I would hope that the organic side to it also helps create some type of like lift, right? If you're getting, 10 pretty big influencers to drive, couple 100,000 views or whatever it is, it's like that just becomes a source of top of funnel for brands, right? I think a lot of people are mentioning that like Facebook, TikTok is so very middle of the funnel. Like there's not much discovery happening, right? Outside of like whatever you're just running, right? So like I'm just hoping that that helps that lift across the board. So let's see.
Yeah, I really like how you think of this stuff, Josh. This is really, really mind blowing. Okay, you want to get into the creepy question?
Yeah. Oh wow, what's the creepy question?
We always have one weird, creepy question. We had shower in and out. We had, what was it? Windows or wheels and windows. I forgot. We always have a creepy one. This one's, it's not as creepy, but it's fun. What do we, Gina? Oh, Gina with the elephant influencer.
Elephant, yeah.
That was pretty strong. She crushed that one. This one's not super weird, but it is fun. Like I said, I'm tired. I just had a vacation. But if you had a documentary made, who is the movie star that you want to be played by? Who is going to star as you? I'll go to Ash first to give you a little time to think, Josh. Ash, who is going to be playing Ash Mawani? It's a good one, right? Not horrible.
It's so tough. It's so tough. I mean,
oh, Josh has his answer. I can tell.
I
He's happy. Like, he's smiling over there.
I don't know. Maybe like Hassan Minaj might be a good one. I don't know.
Is that a Bollywood star? I'm not familiar. Who is this?
Patriot Act?
Oh, he's the best. He's fantastic.
Yeah. I gotta think of somebody brown, right? Come on.
I can the racism on the show actors. Today is
I can list off some Bollywood actors. Nobody's gonna get it, but
Dude, those are my favorites. When I will come across Twitter or something, those scenes are so over the top, and I like physics. Fucked. Who cares? Like, let's just have some fun with it. I love there's some Bollywood scenes that are just 11 out of 10. Okay, that's a good one. I could see that. You guys both have really nice hair. The beards are there. Strong. Yeah. Men.
Good work.
Men. All right, Josh. Who's playing you?
I got Tom Hardy.
Oh, that's strong. That's a great pick.
Love
Heartthrob, definitely. Yeah, I love Tom Hardy. I'm going to go with another Tom as well. I'm doing Tom Cruise. You got me with the Top Gun stuff. I don't know. I'm a little taller than him, but yeah, he's Tom. but like Top Gun like Tom Cruise, not like Vanilla Sky Tom Cruise, not like kind of ladder Tom Cruise where he went a little crazy jumping on the Oprah couch, like pre Oprah couch Tom Cruise. But that's what I think would play my epic. I don't know if you guys
love it.
All right, folks. That's it in the books. Josh, tell the people where they can find you. How can they get more involved with the agency? Pop off their influencers. This time is yours, my friend.
Cool. Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Josh J. Durham. And if you want to chat, come to aligngrowthmanagement.com.
Awesome. Ash, you know what to do. Mentor Pass, Vitamin Shop. Drop the line, baby.
Mentor Pass.
Oh man! If you need any help with any paid media, Facebook, TikTok, hit me up on Mentor Pass. If you need some collagen in your life and you got a vitamin shop near you, go check it out. Take a picture, send it to me, tag me on Twitter.
Don't forget the picture.
Love the support there. Yeah, don't forget the picture and follow me on Twitter at Ashvin Melwani. Actually looking for some UGC creators. So if you like the branding and everything, just DM me.
Oh, amazing. You've been on here too. A couple threads that you've been dropping have been catching fire. I've been impressed.
Good. Got some new stuff coming soon.
Oh, you do, huh? Oh, you do. Oh man. Yeah, come with the heat. All right, folks, that's all we got. I am also on MentorPass, so go support my ridiculous sneaker habit. If you want to get more involved with Triple Whale, it's triplewhale.com now. We dropped the try, finally. We are triplewhale.com. Huge, huge. We're on the Bird app at Triple Whale, and then we have an incredible newsletter that goes out every Tuesday, Thursday called Whale Mail. We would love to have you subscribed, and then this will drop after DTC After Dark, but you should subscribe to the YouTube channel anyways. We're going to have some fun behind the scenes stuff there. And then in a couple weeks, we'll have the DTC After Dark episodes dropping on there as well. So thanks so much. Much love to you guys. Josh, thanks so much, brother. Come out to Austin. Come say hi. We have an awesome office out here.
Don't tempt me.
I will tempt you with a good time, sir. We can talk influencer marketing. I can get some budget. It'll be fun. It'll be a good time. We'll do it big.
Great. As long as I get a t-shirt.
Oh yeah, we'll send you. Actually, I'll send you some gear. We got a water bottle, a bunch of t-shirts. We got some cool socks. We'll hook you up. We'll get you the homie package.
Let's do it, bro.
Amazing. Thanks, Josh. Ash, it's always a pleasure. We'll talk soon, guys. That's it. Another ad spend in the books.